Assalamualaikum everyone. I welcome you all here in the fourth week of our Climate Refugee Fellowship. और ये हमारा कंक्लूडिंग सेशन है एंड आई एम रियली हैप्पी कि आप सब लोगों ने 4 हफ्ते हमारे साथ इसके ऊपर स्पेशली काम किया, हमारे साथ कोऑपरेट किया और सारे सेशन को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से लिया एंड यू सबमिटेड ऑल योर टास्क दैट इज गिवन टू यू ऑन टाइम एज वेल. So as it's our concluding week, so we have our esteemed speaker here. So basically, today we are honored to host an environmental scholar currently leading the Strengthening Regional Climate Resilience program at the Institute of Regional Studies with expertise in climate change and environmental policies. Sir Talha has contributed extensively to regional and global climate discourse through his research, advocacy, and policy analysis. Sir has co-authored reports for international donor agencies, including the European Union and D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation. He has taught at prestigious institutions such as the Qaid-e-Azam University and Bahria University, mentoring more than 300 climate-informed advocates. Furthermore, Sir is also a regular contributor to national and international media, platforms including the PTV World, Voice of America, BBC, and TED Talks, etc. And additionally, Sir has participated as a panelist, keynote speaker, and trainer in several renowned conferences and institutions at both national and international level. Please join me in warmly welcoming our esteemed guest speaker for today's insightful sessions. Thank you, sir. This floor is all yours, and please continue.
Well, thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure to be among the brains of the future. I must say that these activities are remarkably well because we need a lot more people like you. Everybody who is present into this session. I'm glad you are here, and I'm happy to contribute further into this fellowship of yours. And yeah, I'm happy to do this. Before moving forward, let me share my screen with all of you. Uh, yeah, can you see it? Can you see my cursor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with with this brief understanding that what has actually happened in the last 180 years specifically. We're going to further discuss apart from this timeline, what happened on a planetary scale, but the most important timeline for our understanding in regards to whatever is happening around the world or the planet is this last 180 years. Why I'm saying this? Because in the last 70 years, specifically after 1950, we changed something remarkably into the sphere of dynamics of the planetary scale. I talked to certain biologists and ecologists. They told me that the planetary scale, the limit is 1 degree. It's not 1.5 or 2 degree, which we usually discuss or here in the Paris Agreement and all the conferences around the world that we are trying to halt the temperatures at 1.5. But the original threshold limit for the planet is 1 degree, which we already preached. So, but for technically, we are in the overshoot, and in overshoot, the driving force is human beings, and that's what we call the Anthropocene. And today we're going to talk about Pakistan in the age of Anthropocene, that what is the dynamics of Pakistan and how we are navigating into this future. So my name is Talhat Felbati, and I'm very thankful for this kind introduction. I look after the Strengthening Regional Climate Resilience program into the Institute of Regional Studies, and specifically look into the governance, policy, and food security dynamics of the region. My institute logo is this. I look after Iran, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the ocean. And I follow the global trends and try to see what is happening into the region and how we can position Pakistan in a way where we can have maximum diplomatic engagement in this regard. But before moving forward, let me show you a small journey of humanity on the planet Earth. But before that, you have to understand that the temperature shift is not very new. It happened long before we ever lived onto this planet. If you look into the last 400,000 years, तो हमें ये देखने को मिलता है कि -5 से +2 डिग्रीज तक टेम्परेचर शिफ्ट हुआ. Now, there is no industries, there is no carbon, there is nothing, but still the temperature was changing. So means hydrocarbons, but still the temperature was, carbon was there, by the way, but the temperature was still changed. So how it has changed when the reasons which we study today were not present? And that's what we call the interglacial period of the planet Earth. And but what is remarkably big in this infographic is the time. The change between a glacial period to ice age to a normal to a warmer age can take around thousands of years, millions of years, like 70,000 years, 1,20,000 years. And then afterwards, people or usually planet turn into something what we call safe zone. मतलब इस सारे timeline के अंदर temperature shift होता रहा, but it took around 100,000 years for that shift. But if we look specifically in the last 20,000 years, we see the planet has become very stable into the safe zone, what we call the Holocene. The Holocene is the time when the planet actually remained very stable, and that is the time when we developed everything which we see today, our languages, or festivals, or foods, or religions, or everything is developed in the last 12,000 years. And because humans are very curious species, we have this tendency to get our hands onto everything. Like if we want to travel from point one to point B, we will select a path which is shortest to us. But before that, हम पहली बार बहुत लंबा रास्ता लेंगे, दूसरी बार उसे और कम कर देंगे, तीसरी बार उसे और कम कर देंगे, और ऐसे ही हम ऑप्टिमाइज करने की तरफ जाते जाते हैं. But once it is optimized, we tend to expand it. And that's exactly happened here at the Industrial Revolution. We have basic physics, basic mathematics, basic chemistry, basic biology. With the help of hydrocarbons, we thought we can expand it to the levels which we know today. Like at that time, once we had that hydrocarbon and the surplus of energy, we are so frustrated by it that we have two world wars. And after that, we realized this is not the pathway. And that's exactly what happened here. Once we realized this, that the planet cannot sustain, but we can earn money. And that's when we entered into the age of Anthropocene, or the Great Acceleration, which happened here. This line actually is that particular area. And now we have certain futures right in front of us. We have uh, we have 2 degree, we have 4 degree, we have 6 degree, but we don't have 1.5 or 1 degree, because that's remarkably flawed. When we talk about that, we can still achieve such things into our debates, because this is not even close to possible now. This is promising. This is if we get our heads right now, but this has been lost to us. And why I'm saying this, because this whole planet is warming at alarming rate, and the shift has recently came. After 2000, we get warming at accelerated rate, and now the rate of warming is even higher. We will further discuss why this rate is getting higher, but the point of understanding is it's getting higher. Now the effects are non-linear. मतलब अगर एक incremental shift भी आएगा on a planetary scale, it will bring disasters to us at humongous level. Why I'm saying this, because अगर हम बीमार होते हैं तो हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं. ऐसे ही when we took planet to the doctors and tried to understand why we are getting sick, the reason is quite simple. The reason is quite simple. आप कंसीडर करें प्लेनेट को एक इंसान की तरह, और वो बीमार हुआ है और डॉक्टर्स ने उसके ऊपर कुछ टेस्ट रन किए, और जो टेस्ट रन किए हैं उसके रिजल्ट में हमें ये पता लगा है कि उस इंसान की जो कि प्लेनेट है, उसकी किडनीज भी फेल हैं, उसके लंग्स भी फेल हैं, उसका स्टमक खत्म हो चुका है, कुछ डाइजेशन नहीं करता, तो उसके इंटेस्टाइन्स के अंदर पानी पड़ चुका है, उसकी आंखों की बिनाई जा चुकी है और वो सुन भी नहीं सकता, उसके टांगे दोनों टूट चुकी हैं. सो दिस इज द क्रिटिकल कंडीशन in which the planet is right now. Just giving a perspective of it, just so you can understand that how critical conditions are. We have 6 out of 9 planetary boundaries are breached, and seventh one is on the way. And climate change is just one of them. So it's not only about one part which is wrong, it's the whole body of the planet itself. Why I'm saying this? Because the thermostat of the planet, which is what we call the oceans, are getting warmer and warmer because 90% of planet heat is absorbed by the oceans. इट्स मोर लाइक अगर आप एक चूल्हे के ऊपर एक स्टोव के अंदर पानी डाल के एक स्टोव के ऊपर आप पैन के अंदर पानी रखते हैं तो पानी फौरन गर्म नहीं होगा, बट वंस इट इज वार्म it will stay warm for a while. And that's what we call the entropy of the water. The earth entropy has been changed because of the excessive heat which is absorbed by the ocean. And that's alarming for us. And that is not very promising for the future. As you can see here, this energy accumulation is humongous. Just to give you a perspective of it, from 1970 to 2020, we have accumulated around 450 zetajoules of energy, even more of that. And just to compare it, how much bigger this number is, I will give you a small reflection or the scale point for the reference. For the whole planet, अगर हम पूरे साल इस पूरे planet की हर चीज को चला के रखें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को, every machine, everything, then we will consume only 0.67 zetajoules for a year if we run everything. And because of that much of energy जो हम रिलीज कर रहे हैं वो इस सिस्टम के अंदर सारी accumulated है. And that is the reason we face such disasters right now. So now we have a clear trajectory in front of us. We have lost Holocene. हमने छोड़ दिया Holocene और अब वो वापस नहीं आएगी, no matter how हम जितना मर्जी अफसोस कर लें. Now we have only two futures. It is one unsafe future of hothouse Earth, and the other one is safe future like Holocene-like conditions in which we cannot save everybody, but we can save some. In hothouse scenario, nobody is saved. And that's where our trajectory is right now. Because the tipping elements of the planet Earth has been tipped off. And these are the elements के ये domino effect की तरह काम करते हैं. अगर एक tip off होगा तो बाकी सारे उसके साथ जाएंगे. And for the concern of us, हमारा मानसून का cycle जो है एक natural tipping point है on a planetary scale. And we all know that after 2022 floods, or even after 1990, we have faced continuous floods every year. Now the just intensity is getting louder and louder. And if we see what has changed after AR6 report, the last AR6 report, which considered to be the holy grail, a lot has been changed. The energy balance, which I've just told you, has been changed. The CO2 levels has been changed. The remaining carbon budget is consumed like there's no tomorrow. And the change in the surface air temperature is also changed. So this is alarming. Every number on this figure is alarming. And specifically, if we look into the last 3 years after 2023, we have crossed 1.5, and this jump is alarming because this is not natural. This is seriously alarming condition. And why I'm saying this? Because after 1940, the temperature of the planet, of the air on the planet, is getting warmer. First, the sea was get warmer. Now the air too. पानी के साथ हवा भी बहुत ज्यादा गर्म हो चुकी है और उस गर्मी की वजह से पूरा planet shift अपने आप को कर रहा है. As you can see, the average air temperature globally is now far more warmer than 70 years ago. And now we have only certain areas to work. Critically, we are right here. This is the critical junction of ours. This is 2030, and we are right here. And the trajectory of returning to the safe zone is highly unlikely because of the scenarios which are happening around the world right now. And we are moving here at this area. So this is really alarming if we go business as usual. We will destabilize entire Earth system and societies. And this area, this black area, is the uninhabitable zone of the planet Earth. And as you can see, our region is critically injured in this regard. So that is why I must urge that the Anthropocene age is quite critical for us. This is the food basket of the planet Earth, this whole region. This is the lungs of the planet. And this is uninhabitable to live in the near future. Because everything is connected around the planet. Every tapping element is connected and have a stabilizing and destabilizing impact on each other. Like I told you, if one tipping element is stepped off, the rest will go again. And now you know what how much critical conditions are. Let's talk about where Pakistan is and what is the state of climate in Pakistan. We all know we are the eighth most vulnerable country, but we are not the only vulnerable country. There are more vulnerable countries than us. But the major observations were that we have lost 4 years of life. Everybody who is present in this session has lost 4 years of life only because of the poor air quality. The sea surface temperatures has been increased to 1.2. It means the upper layer of 700 meters is warmer now. The fishes have migrated downstream and the catcher is getting lower and lower. Between 2023 to 2025, Pakistan is in a poly crisis. Every crisis generates another one. Like अगर स्मोक आती है तो उसके बाद हीट वेव आ जाएगी, उसके बाद सैलाब अभी हम अभी स्मोक से निकले हैं सर्दियों में, अब हम डायरेक्ट हीट वेव में जा रहे हैं और इसके फौरन बाद हमें सैलाब मिलेगा. सो दैट्स अ पोली क्राइसिस कि हम एक सिस्टम से निकलते नहीं और दूसरे में एंटर हो जाते हैं. और हमारा अपर इंडस्पेशन itself is melting because of the air temperature over there. And the monsoon cycle, I've just told you, has been shifted. Now, the extreme heat, which we're going to observe in the next couple of months, probably this month and the next month too, we will have destabilizing factors like these things. If we feel any of it, please, इसमें से कोई भी अगर आपको महसूस हो, फौरन से पहले अपना मेडिकल चेकअप करवाएं and avoid sunlight because it's lethal now. It is lethal now. वो वाली बात नहीं है कि हम कमजोर हो गए हैं, ये बहुत lethal हो चुकी हुई है. And that is the reason I must urge to everybody that this is the critical point for us. This whole region, this whole region is filled with the glaciers, but the highest glaciers is belong to us, the upper Indus Basin, and that is where the critical threshold is for everybody. And now we have very limited time. As I've told you, the remaining carbon budget is going to end very soon. In the next 4 years, we will see the carbon budget to collapse. Now consider this carbon budget as shocks into a car. आप किसी उबर कार पर रास्ते पे जा रहे हो तो आपके शॉक्स आपको बचा लेते हैं. और इसी तरह प्लैनेट का कार्बन बजट हमें अभी तक बचाता आ रहा था. बट नाउ वी हैव ओनली 4 years लेफ्ट फॉर दैट, जो कि इसके बाद बहुत जल्द खत्म हो सकते हैं. So this is the critical point. We have to stop this thing. And to stop it, we need to understand what is the carbon cycle on the planet Earth. The biggest emitter is fossil fuel. This is the biggest emitter into our system. There are other things too, like the land use, the agriculture we do, ocean uptakes, ocean. Every cycle is in this regard. But the budget itself, the overall budget, is an imbalance. We are generating more carbon, and the planet is absorbing far less now. And because this system is continued, by 2050, the planet could face immense economic shocks. Like we can lose, Pakistan can lose around 25% of its GDP annually due to climate change. This is really alarming for us. And the people who are born today, the people most of you are belong to Gen Z. But this generation is going to face most alarming factors into the coming timeline. And Gen Alpha also is going to face a lot of the alarming time because this shift has happened. It's not a reason to be optimistic, it's a reason to worry. Because the main culprit of every disaster we are facing is the fossil fuel, as I've just told you. And they're getting $7 trillion of the subsidy. 7 trillion apart from their profits, they are $7 trillion of the subsidy. Even इस presentation के अंदर उन्हें 100 million से ज़्यादा subsidy मिल गई है अभी तक की जितनी बारी बात हमने की है. And this is IMF. This is not even Pakistan. This is IMF who is telling us this. So I'm quite concerned about this lithium mining now because they want to shift their narrative from this to this renewable energy. So I'm quite concerned about the lithium mining because they mine or they extract fossil fuel in the same manner to save the humanity. But look now where the humanity is. And they impose wars on us. The first, they colonize. On the second, in the last 100 years, they become the tax havens. And now they are coming again with the nature markets. It's the same wine in a new bottle. We have to be very smart. Your generation needs to be very smart to tackle these things because you guys are the one who is going to face everything in the coming timeline. Because if we look into the last uh, uh, COP, we came to know that the world is not pledging fairly. We need to reduce 48% and we are only reducing 12%. So the conditions are not very promising in the Anthropocene. And how the conditions are, let me show you a small video that what would be the conditions by 2100.
What needs to fill for our children and their children. No numbers, just the consequences. Well, by 2100, dust bowl conditions across North America, Africa, Asia too. Sooner than that, a massive reduction in agricultural production, access to drinking water.
Oh, sorry.
What? Sooner than that, a massive reduction in agricultural production, access to drinking water. Migration in huge numbers. Bushfires on a massive scale in Australia, the west coast. Melting of the poles, West Antarctic ice sheet. Well, because of that, the global sea level rise of meters. What does that all mean for us? People. The sea fell. Well, in this worst case scenario, 70% of the habitable world will no longer be able to sustain human life. Millions of species will become extinct. Coastal and delta cities will be underwater. And if the methane in the permafrost and on the seabed is released, well, yes, the climate will collapse. and the world as we know it will be gone. Now we know there are some people.
So, just to give you a perspective that these conditions are coming, and why they are coming, because CO2 levels are getting higher and higher by each passing year. As you can see, 2026 is not different from 2021 because it's increasing now by a year. So we are releasing all of this CO2 into this small area, which I call the arc of life. दिस इज द एरिया. अगर आप यहाँ से बैठ के सीधा अगर ऊपर जाएं, जहाँ पे भी आप बैठे हुए हैं अभी, और 10-15 मिनट अगर सीधा ही आसमान की तरफ जाते जाएं, तो आप इस आर्क ऑफ लाइफ से बाहर चले जाएंगे. दिस इज हाउ स्मॉल आवर वर्ल्ड इज. देयर इज नो लाइफ अहेड and there's no life below. So we have to understand how cascading the effects are, because I've just showed you that how this planet Earth itself in the age of Anthropocene is in the risk of cascading. अगर एक टिप ऑफ होगा तो बाकी सारे उसके साथ जाएंगे और रिस्क बढ़ता जाएगा, वो कम नहीं होगा. और क्यों कम नहीं होगा? बिकॉज हम डेस्परेट लोग हैं, हम सब, मैं भी शामिल हूं उसमें. we have something for the future, but we are not saying what we are doing right now. Like, whenever we talk to the people, they say we have these issues: high student debt, 6 months of new startup, we need a job, we need something to feed our meds. And then they work like this. Do you work for cheap? We work for cheap. Pakistan market is full of those people who work pro bono just to get a slight job or experience letter or something. Even some work for the family. Do you work far away from your family? And we say yes, because we need something. So when we talk about climate change, तो वो कहते हैं कि मुझे अपने बिल्स पे करने हैं भाई, मैं कैसे क्लाइमेट का ख्याल रखूं, मैं कैसे डिसेबल राइट्स का ख्याल रखूं जबकि मुझे पास खुद जॉब नहीं है. So that is the dilemma which we face every day when we talk about climate change in the age of Anthropocene. Because people are desperate because of this whole capitalist system around us. And not only this, we have to understand these are the human rights now. They are the real luxuries for us. If you listen to the birds, it's a real luxury. Trust me, it's a real luxury. If you see a colorful sunset in this smogy sky, it's a blessing, and it's a human right to have those sunsets or sunrises. If you can take a day nap with whole of your freedom, it's a blessing. It's a human right to have such kind of leverages into this society. But this Anthropocene is getting it more and more problematic to have it, because everyone is so busy into their hustles, into their lives, that they do not even care what is happening outside the window of their screen. And we are all hooked up to this thing. So now we have to decide. We have to decide that delay action at right now could trigger a world of 3 degrees, which is not very sustainable. And we have to take the choices right now if we want to do anything. And this session is one of those choices. Being present in this session is one of those choices. So it's important to understand what is the meaning of life. My meaning of life is this: to tell you that things are not very promising, and you have to understand how remarkably fragile we are against nature. Because we tend to believe that we can buy our climate buyouts, but we couldn't if we do not give meaning to our life. Just give me a minute. The meaningful in our lives is surely and wholly depend upon how we conceive our realities, or how meaningful our lives are when it comes to the realities of today's world. Just give me a minute, beta. My battery of laptop battery is low. Just give me a minute.
No worries, sir. ओके गाइस, तब तक आप लोग को अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है और आप लोग सर से कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं, यू कैन टाइप ऑन द चैट बॉक्स और यू कैन जस्ट सिंपली रेज योर हैंड एट द एंड ऑफ द प्रेजेंटेशन. सो आई एड्रेस यू एंड देन आप लोग सर से क्वेश्चन पूछिएगा. एंड आई हाईली एनकरेज यू ऑल कि आप ये अपॉर्चुनिटी को अच्छे तरीके से इस्तेमाल करें, बिकॉज वी हैव एन एक्सपर्ट हियर विद अस जो आपको आपके सारे क्यूरीज का आंसर्स दे सकते हैं. ही इज द ओनली वन जो दे सकते हैं, बिकॉज ही इज वर्किंग इन दिस फील्ड एंड डोमेन. So don't waste this opportunity, use it wisely.
So thank you so much for covering me up. But yeah, I mean, so we have to understand what drives us the energy in our lives. My reason of being is to tell you everybody that things are not very promising. Mostly when people talk about climate change, they use sugarcoat words, but I don't. I give you the reality and the clear picture of it. So apart from being scared, you have to understand this is what I learned from my own life. This is what I learned when I spent more than 10 years into this subject. And I learned how important it is to tell the truth at it is. So I urge you, all of you, to find your ikigai and find your reason of being. Because this is the truth, that the planet is warmed, but truth would be different for everybody. Maybe for some people who lives into a privileged class, उनके लिए climate change इतना बड़ा मसला ना हो, because उनकी direct economic dependence नहीं है. Like they earn money from other sources. But if you talk about to the farmer would tell you that how critical this decrease is. So the truth is everywhere. You have to understand the perspective of the people and then give them those things which they need. And I don't want this is just for all of you, because I know I was dealing with the Gen Z and with the Gen Alpha. So just wanted to give you this perspective that I'm not here to make you feel bad about these things. I just want to give you the gravity of the problem. The world is ending and the weather is being crazy, but you have to understand that how we can move forward in a way where sustainability could be achieved, if not for everybody, at least for some. And for me, it's more like collapsing. Like I know the collapse would come if we go on like this, but this time we will see this in the with Wi-Fi and memes, because our generation, or Pakistani Gen Alpha and Gen Z, is very advanced and very skillful in this department. So giving you this the lighter perspective that you need to create such things, such jargons, and I cannot tell you that you need to generate this or you need to generate that, because every district, every site has its own problems, and that is why I say no one can tell what conditions would be better for you, because for your district the conditions are different. Might be for every district the conditions are different. So there's no single silver bullet solution for climate change, and you have to understand that whatever you do, you will not eat the fruit of it. I may not meet you with everybody of you in person ever in my life, but this is the seed which I want to sow today in your minds, that things are in your hand. And your generation is the one who is only able to change it. My generation would only tell you how far the conditions are, and your generation need to decide the future of it. Because this is only one planet we have. There's no planet B. And look into this big blue dot into the vastness of space and time. And there's no planet B, as just mentioned you again and again. So we have to understand how we can move forward in a way where the life could be possible.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and attention, and I am very open for the questions. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. It's truly, truly, truly really informative और it's an honor to have you. Sir, हमारे पास chat box में एक question है. Miss Sharira Ishaq पूछ रही हैं, can you please explain the carbon sink? Can you answer this?
Okay, so the carbon sink is more like how should I say? It's more like the absorption capacity of the planet. जैसे एक स्पंज होता है, तो आप एक स्पंज को एक पानी के अंदर अगर आप डुबोएं तो वो एक हद तक अब्जॉर्ब कर सकता है और उसके बाद नहीं कर सकता. तो इसी तरह प्लैनेट की एक कार्बन सिंक कैपेसिटी है कि जो मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स के बाद सेट हुई थी with the processes in the Holocene. Like whatever carbon was produced into the system through volcanoes or through the natural cycle was sinking to Amazon and the other means on the planet Earth. So this is more like a balance on the nature. The carbon sink is more like the places where it absorbs. The places are like forest, like every vegetation you see around yourself. This is the carbon sink. The plantation jitni bhi hai aapke aage piche. The second biggest carbon sink is your oceans. So these two are the major ones.
Okay, if anybody has any other question, you can just raise your hand and open the mic. और तब तक से मेरा आपसे एक क्वेश्चन था कि अभी आपने हमें बताया कि टेम्परेचर किस तरीके से इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि अकॉर्डिंग टू द पेरिस एग्रीमेंट हमारे पास जो एक आइडियल सिचुएशन थी वो 1.5 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड की थी, बट यू मेंशन कि वो ऑलरेडी क्रॉस हो चुका है. तो आपको क्या लगता है हमारे पास जो पेरिस एग्रीमेंट है वो अब उतना इफेक्टिव नहीं रहा, या उसमें रिफॉर्म्स की ज़रूरत है, या देयर इज समथिंग ऑन द टेबल एज वेल?
I think Paris, it's not about Paris Agreement, it's about the UNFCCC. हम UNFCCC में 30 COPs कर चुके हैं. The 31st is on the way. But the emissions are not reducing it, they are increasing. And because of that increase, we are sure that we are not in the right direction. So what I believe is that there is already बहुत ज़्यादा multilateralism में development हो चुकी हुई है, बस implementation नहीं हो रही. So we now need to convert our words into action. And I must say the Paris Agreement is the tool, but unfortunately the global political will is not there. We are still hooked to carbon and specifically in regards to the fossil fuels. So the biggest emitter of the world is China, but China is also the world largest manufacturer of the renewable energy. But still, their emissions are increasing. They are saying that we will peak our emissions by 2030, and then afterwards we will achieve net zero by 2060. But the planet do not have that timeline. So we need to understand that these agreements, multilateral agreements, need to shift their perspective from words to action.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answer. We have Dr. Samrana, and she is asking कि very nice presentation, and I want to ask you kindly assess the role of governance capacity in achieving the climate resilience in Pakistan.
Pardon me, can you repeat it? The last part of it?
Sure, sir. She was asking कि kindly assess the role of governance capacity in achieving climate resilience in Pakistan.
Well, I mean, the governance capacity is a lot because we have sustained carbon policies. Our carbon, basically, our climate policies actually started back in 1992, and then afterwards we have developed a lot of it. The problem is the climate buyout mindset, which we have from the top to bottom. I will be very candid with all of you because you are young people and you can understand this perspective that हमारे जो 5 बड़े जो है ना जो बेसिकली टॉप पे हैं जिनमें मैं आपको बताऊं तो वेटरन पॉलिटिशियंस, आपके जो वेरी सीनियर जो आपके मीडिया जर्नलिस्ट हैं वो, उसके बाद आपके जो कह लें कि वेरी वेरी टॉप ब्यूरोक्रेट्स ग्रेड 21 22, and then moving further, your very elite landlords, jo land owners hai. And the last is your top armed forces top brass. They consider themselves bigger than the climate, and they do not think that climate change उन पे impact कर सकता है. एंड बिकॉज ये उन पे उनका ये माइंडसेट है, यही माइंडसेट फिर नीचे जाता है हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट के डीसी के ऊपर. डीसी ये समझता है कि शहर का डिस्ट्रिक्ट कमिश्नर ये समझता है कि आई एम मोर प्रिविलेज्ड देन एवरीबॉडी एंड आई एम सेफ फ्रॉम द क्लाइमेट चेंज. शहर का डीपीओ ये समझता है कि भाई मुझे क्लाइमेट का चेंज से अगर कोई इम्पैक्ट आता है और उससे कोई चोरियां वगैरह होती हैं, कुछ साजिशें होती हैं, तो मेरी जान महफूज है, मुझे कोई मसला नहीं है. म्युनिसिपल ऑफिसर ये समझता है कि लेट्स से इफ देयर इज अ डिजास्टर माय हाउस वुड बी सेफ बिकॉज ऑफ द पोस्ट आई हैव. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस माइंडसेट जो पॉलिसी गवर्नेंस की जो डेवलपमेंट की जाती है उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया जाता, और उस इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की ना होने की वजह सिर्फ उस माइंडसेट की मजबूरी है. So we are working on a federal level that how we can shift the narrative into those civil servant officers कि उनके अंदर आया जाए, into the media houses. I personally from the last 2 years are engaging with the media personals and telling them that you whatever you say you have to remove those sugar coats from your debate. Whenever I meet to the army officials or to the top military officials or air officials, Navy, Air Force, military, or any other paramilitary forces, I tell them that your rescue and relief operations are going to increase if you don't act, if you don't correct your act. So we need to understand that ये 2 generations लगी हैं और उसके बाद हम इस condition पे पहुंचे हैं, और इसी तरह 2 generations लगेंगी इससे वापस जाने में भी, जो कि एक शायद मेरी जनरेशन है और एक शायद जो आपकी जनरेशन है जो सारे यहाँ पे सुन रहे हैं. Maybe if we correct our directions, maybe we will have a sustainable future. But apart from it, I don't think so, because the planet is operating on a global level, not at the Pakistan level. So अगर हम अपनी एक को ठीक कर भी लें, यूएसए में स्टिल वहां पे इमिशन जारी रहेंगी, चाइना स्टिल इमिशन करता रहेगा, इंडिया स्टिल इमिशन करता रहेगा. So what we can do is we can develop into this new reality and accept it and advance our resilience, and that's what I believe such sessions are जिसमें आज हम बैठे हुए.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have Dr. Samrana. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Talha. A very nice presentation, I must say, and very thought-provoking and insightful. I am Assistant Professor, Department of IR, Fatma Jinnah Women University. I have got my PhD in climate change governance and policy from National Defense University. And my major thesis, my actual thesis was on mainstreaming climate change in Pakistan's policy processes. And here I found that there are so many institutional problems. Climate change is actually a governance issue rather than a technical issue. It's more than a governance issue. There's a mismanagement in terms of the various security, water, energy, food security perspectives, and so many things. And the most important thing that you have just said, it is really correct. The attitude, the political commitment, the institutional lags, the lack of coordination, lack of information. There were so many issues, both formal institutions as well as informal institutions that play a role in this. My basic question is, my basic question to you is, how can we resolve this particular gap that is there in policy as well as institutions, because our institutions still are malfunctioning, still apart from these 2 earlier years, 2 to 3 decades earlier. उससे पहले हमने कहीं पे भी क्लाइमेट को रियल कंसर्न नहीं माना, और अभी भी हम जो है वो खाली रेटरिक्स एंड वी नॉर्मली play with words. हम जो real implementation है, same as happening in the global politics and global stage, we are also doing that. how can we resolve that? How ab awareness to kafi aa chuki hai, mashallah. There are so many experts that are leading in a way, and our young youth, they are having this awareness, theek hai. Lekin hame kis tarike se policy ko implementation aur jo final hamara goal hai towards climate change resolution, usko hum kaise target kar sakte hain? Do you have a solution in your mind?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for such kind words for the presentation, and I'm very humble to hear it. Having said that, I must say that the problem is in the mindset, ma'am. I don't think so. Okay, there is any silver bullet solution. There's only one solution to reduce this gap. The only solution, what I believe, is if we can change the value system itself. When the people around the planet, and specifically in Pakistan or the underdeveloping nations, could realize this, that if MNA can realize that climate change मुझे भी impact करेगा और उसके उस value system के अंदर ये बात शामिल हो जाए, तो then maybe we can have better resilience. But before that, I cannot assure, or I cannot find any pathway, because mostly we usually hear climate change as a buzzword. Everybody's talking about climate change. Everybody's saying that climate change is happening and this, but no one is actually feeling it. No, why they are not feeling it? Because they are sitting into the उनके AC वाले कमरे हैं और उनके बाकी वो सारी चीजें, वो कभी गार्ड की जिंदगी को एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर सकते. वो कभी उन चीजों को एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर सकते जो उन्हें प्रैक्टिकली इम्पेक्ट कर रही हैं. यस, वी व्हेन आई टॉक टू द फार्मर्स, अगर मैं उनसे कहूँ कि आपका जो पानी है वो आप चला के आप कम यूज किया करें, ड्रिप इरिगेशन में जाया करें, तो वो इस चीज को नहीं समझते. बट मैं जब उनसे पूछता हूँ कि आपका पानी कितने फुट पे निकल रहा है, तो तब वो बताते हैं हाँ भाई पहले 300 फुट पे निकल रहा था, अब 650-700 फुट पे चला गया. So this difference they understand. What we need to do is we need to convert our words and terminology to communicate to the persons who are dealing with it. And sometimes what I believe is that the last generation, which is right now at the influential positions, are not very comfortable with this debate. Because whenever we talk about such things, they have this institutionalization of the lifestyle they are having. उनके lifestyle को change करना, उनको उस value system से निकालना, it's relatively quite tough. But academics like you and development sector में professionals like me and the students who are present into this community right now are the promising future which we have today. That maybe in the next 15 years, when we got the chance to actually put a shift into the policy, we will take the right step because we have the right lens to look into the problem. But before that, it's really tough call to make.
Exactly. Very right. Just one more, just a small question. Do you really think so? Is net zero sufficient to prevent catastrophic climate change? Net zero targets, are they realistic?
No,
Because
ma'am.
we have
I
a
do not believe into net zero. I believe this is a greenwash, which is present. As I've just told you in my presentation, I've just showed you that we have only 4 years left for the carbon budget, and net zero should be achieved by the early 2000 if we are serious about the climate change. But I believe not only net zero, we need negative technologies and things which can even absorb the already produced or accumulated carbon into the system. So yeah, I strongly disagree with the net zero phenomenon.
Thank you.
So we have one last question from Ma'am Zainab Arif, and she's saying, okay, how can student and youth especially contribute not just through individual actions but collectively? What kind of organized efforts, movement do you think can create meaningful structural change?
Well, as far as I see the community in the last 2 to 3 years, couple of years, when I started my work into developmental sector, I came to this realization that, as Ma'am Samra also mentioned, that a lot of people know about it. A lot of students know about that climate change is a word, but they do not understand the depth and the gravity of it. So what I believe is if we can improve the knowledge base of the youth as we are doing right now, if this process continued, then a meaningful change can occur because and also with this I want to highlight that कि मैं सब solutions को नहीं जानता. I cannot tell the solutions which is required in Vihadi. I cannot tell solutions which is if the Vihadi solution can be same replicated at Sawat. सवात के अपने मसले हैं, विहाड़ी के अपने मसले हैं, गुजरांवाला के अपने मसले हैं, सखर के अपने मसले हैं, जोब के अपने मसले हैं. Every area has their own problem, and every area needs a specialized, tailor-made solution. So if our youth is informed enough कि उनका knowledge base इतना strong हो जाए कि उनको पता हो कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं, so all they need is to read and to find solutions for their own areas. I cannot say a meaningful change can come into the federal level कि इस्लामाबाद में अगर कोई ऐसी organization develop हो जाए तो वो कर सकती है, but इस्लामाबाद से एक विजन जा सकता है जो कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे जाना चाहिए और जो कि लास्ट 2 से 3 सालों में एलकॉय के थ्रू काफी जगहों पे गया है. लोकल कॉप जो हमारी होती है हर साल, उसमें काफी ज्यादा स्टूडेंट्स एंगेज होते हैं एंड ऑल ओवर द ईयर स्टूडेंट्स आर एंगेज इनटू दीस डिबेट्स. And if these debates can change their value system, I believe a meaningful change can occur with the best of time.
थैंक यू सो मच सर एंड आई थिंक हमारे पास बस इतने ही क्वेश्चन थे और जो फर्दर क्वेश्चन हमारे पास रिसीव होंगे आई डेफिनेटली फॉरवर्ड टू यू एंड लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर द आंसर्स एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे. आपने अपना इतना कीमती वक्त हमें दिया और इतनी अच्छी प्रेजेंटेशन के साथ एंड विद ऑल द concept and everything. Thank you so much sir and it's an honor to have you and inshallah हमारा next जो भी fellowship होगी we also hope कि आप हमारे साथ दोबारा join करें as a speaker and for a very long time like for 2-3 sessions maximum or minimum maybe. So thank you so much sir.
May I'd be humble. Um, yeah, sorry. I thought you are completed your part, but yeah, I'm always very humble to be a part of this community and to be a part of the youth itself, because that's how the real change could come. I'm sharing my LinkedIn profile into the chat box. You can reach me out and ask questions if you have any more. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much sir. तब तक के लिए अपना बहुत सारा ख्याल रखिएगा सर. ओके गाइज 9 बजने वाले हैं और हम लोग का जो ऑफिशियल टाइम है वो वैसे तो 9:30 तक है. But what you guys want we shall continue or we should have a little discussion on sir's presentation or we just like have a fun session, what you want, because it's a concluding week. So I also need your remarks for the whole fellowship कि आप लोग की क्या opinions रहे हैं overall इस fellowship को लेकर. So what you guys want, just unmute yourself and just have a friendly conversation because it's our last week और हमारे पास बस 2 ही दिन है, एक आज का और एक कल का, और कल हमारे पास 2 गेस्ट स्पीकर्स होंगे. सो कल शायद आपका और मेरा इतना इंटरेक्शन ना हो सके जितना हमारा पहले रहा है. सो आई रियली वांट कि मैं अपने बारे में आपसे फीडबैक ले सकूं, ओवरऑल फेलोशिप के बारे में फीडबैक ले सकूं एंड व्हाट यू गाइस थिंक कि हमें इसमें ऐड करने की ज़रूरत है जो हम ऐड करें एंड देन वी कैन जस्ट कंक्लूड आवर टुडेज सेशन एज वेल.
Okay, pardon me to be here. Just wanted to ask, do you need my presence at the moment, or I can leave the session so you can have your discussion?
No worries, sir. Sir, if you want, you can join us as well. Otherwise, if you want to leave, you can leave. It's totally up to you.
Yeah, I have a small commitment, so it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for all the questions. And open to have more. Thank you. Take care. Allah
Thank you,
Hafiz.
sir. Allah Hafiz, sir. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so we have few of the comments in the chat box. Miss Shariha, I'm really sorry, यार मैं आपका हमेशा नाम गलत ले लेती हूँ. I'm really sorry. Miss Ishaq is with us, and she's saying, "I just want to appreciate the effort and dedication. Thank you so much, ma'am." Anybody else, guys? We just have a little conversation and then we conclude. But still, I want some input from you guys. No one, guys. या तो कोई reviews अच्छे नहीं आ रहे fellowship के
Okay,
बारे में.
so, Mosma,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
are you here?
Please go ahead.
ओके यस फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये तो सबसे पहली बात है कि मैं ये आई थिंक आई हैव अटेंडेड 3 previous and 1 now like total 4 and बुराक के साथ मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत ही अच्छा रहा है कमाल के रिसोर्स पर्संस एंड ऑल इनपुट और बहुत अच्छी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वेरी वेल मैनेज्ड एवरीथिंग इज सो गुड और आप जब स्पीकर्स भी बुलाते हैं प्लस ये कि आप लोग जो खुद भी आप लोगों ने इतनी वेल रिसर्च टॉपिक्स के ऊपर रिसर्च की हुई होती है और बहुत अच्छा जबरदस्त जो है ना आपकी रिसर्च एरिया बहुत स्ट्रांग है दैट्स वेरी गुड एंड दैट्स वेरी कमेंडेबल एंड आई रियली अप्रिशिएट दिस थिंग दिस फोरम और इंशाल्लाह आगे भी फ्यूचर में भी वट एवर वेज आई कैन कंट्रीब्यूट टू योर एसोसिएशन आई एम there to help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind response. And ma'am, if I ask because I'm also a student, I am also a learner, and you have like a lot more experience than we have people sitting here. What should we improve in our fellowship, and what do you think कि हमें कुछ चीजें add करनी चाहिए इसमें ताकि हम जो next fellowship लेके आ सकें on the same climate refugees, तो उसमें क्या क्या चीजें की addition होनी चाहिए in your opinion?
So you are talking about only climate refugee fellowship, or you want overall everything about climate related your trainings and other things?
Ma'am, you can talk about both कि हम किस तरीके से improve कर सकते हैं like in delivery or in presentation, anything you want.
अच्छा ऑलरेडी बहुत अच्छा है और ये जो द बेस्ट थिंग ये आप लोगों का जो है ना ये जो आप लोग रिकॉर्डिंग्स एंड एवरीथिंग जो पीपीटीज शेयर करते हैं दिस इज अमेजिंग एंड I really don't think so. Any other thing is needed. Just ये है कि आप का जो है ना जितना ज्यादा वाइडर सर्कल होगा मेरे ख्याल में उतना ज्यादा आपका जो है ये बहुत ज्यादा बहुत अच्छे अच्छे फोरम से बहुत जबरदस्त फोरम आप लोगों का है तो जस्ट ये मेरा ख्याल में ये नेशन वाइड भी होना चाहिए इसका रीच like all students must get involved ये मैंने already जो है अपने ग्रुप्स में और अपने स्टूडेंट्स को तो शेयर करती रहती हूँ whichever thing is available लेकिन थोड़ा सा और अगर वाइडर हो community wise तो that is just one suggestion otherwise everything is so good.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your suggestion. And I guess Miss Aiman is here, ma'am. We really miss you because you missed the speaker session. And it was like, I hope कि आप होते because you all are engaging. Like few of the members, I remember their name by heart कि उन्होंने पूरी fellowship में बहुत support किया. डॉक्टर समराना हो गई, मिस जैनब हो गई एंड मिस उम्मेमन होगी. सो आई रियली वांट कि आप लोग गेस्ट स्पीकर्स के लेक्चर ज़रूर लेते बिकॉज यू ऑल like did a really great job in the few of the sessions, but you missed it. But no worries, I'll share the slides and everything. Okay, any other suggestion to improve our fellowship and what you guys basically learned from this? I really wanted to know.
आज लगता है लास्ट वीक की तरह सारे खामोश बैठे हुए हैं
इसके फिर दो मतलब हो सकते हैं, या ये है कि
या तो
सब समझ आया है या तो कुछ समझ नहीं आया। तो आई एम नॉट श्योर, आई होप कि पहला वाला ही ऑप्शन हो, बिकॉज आई ट्राइड रियली।
इनफैक्ट समझ सबको आया हुआ है। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि संडेज और सैटरडेज जरा बिजी होते हैं ना, वीकेंड्स होते हैं, सो इस वजह से मे बी बहुत सारे लोगों को थोड़ा सा होता है। तो मैं खुद बल्कि आज मैंने जो है स्पेशल टाइम निकाला, अदरवाइज आई वाज कमिटेड समवेयर, लेकिन मैंने थोड़ा सा साइड पे कर दिया था बिकॉज आई रियली मिस्ड द प्रीवियस वन, तो मुझे वो बहुत ज्यादा इसमें था। तो एनी हाउ,
तो मैम इट्स एन ऑनर कि आपने टाइम निकाला और आप यहाँ पर आए। और गाइज, इफ यू गाइज हैव एनी सजेशन, आप लोग मुझे पर्सनली भी मैसेज कर सकते हैं, मेरी ईमेल आईडी ऑलरेडी आप लोग के पास है। एंड फॉर टुडे स्पीकर, आप लोग मुझे उनका फीडबैक दे दीजिएगा, बिकॉज ही वाज आस्किंग कि अगर मेरे बारे में जो भी फीडबैक हो मुझे आप लोग भेज दीजिएगा। सो इट्स वेरी गुड अगर आप लोग मुझे उनके बारे में भी फीडबैक मुझे आप व्हाट्सएप कर दें। और सेकेंडली ये कि कल हमारा सेम ही सेशन की टाइमिंग्स है 8 से 9 तक या 9:30 तक, वो डिपेंड करता है हमारी डिस्कशन में। और कल हमारे पास 2 स्पीकर्स होंगे, तो आई वांट यू ऑल टू बी देयर ऑन टाइम, ताकि हम लोग उसको अच्छे तरीके से कंक्लूड कर सकें। एंड इफ यू गाइस
टॉपिक्स हैं, टॉपिक्स कौन से होंगे, कैन यू प्लीज टेल?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, we have Sir Daniel Kamal. He'll be covering the climate finance, basically. And
Wonderful.
secondly, we have Miss Sidra Riaz. She joined us from. She'll be joining us from United States. और उनका जो topic है वो youth advocacy पे है. So these two are like our last topics for this fellowship program. So I really want कि मैं भी present करूँ, but of course we have time constraint. But next time, inshallah. और अगर आपको कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं, अदरवाइज हम इसको कंक्लूड करते हैं यहाँ पे।
मिस मौसमा, एंड अनदर वन थिंग, बिकॉज ये पूरी जो है ये क्लाइमेट रेफ्यूजी के ऊपर थी ना, व्हाई नॉट सम स्पीकर फ्रॉम यूएनएचसीआर, कैन इट बी अरेंज्ड एट द लास्ट मोमेंट?
मैम on the very last moment it's like kind of difficult, but in the next session, because हम लोग इस पे कॉन्फ्रेंस भी मैंने एक प्रपोजल ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ टीम को, तो हम जब उसके ऊपर कॉन्फ्रेंस रखेंगे, सो मैं कोशिश करूंगी, हमारा पूरा प्लेटफॉर्म कोशिश करेगा कि हम यूएन से भी ऑफिशियल्स को यहाँ पर इनवाइट करें, बिकॉज इट्स अ स्टार्ट। तो हमने बहुत बेसिक स्टार्ट लिया है, जब हम इसका 2.0 फेलोशिप लेकर आएंगे, सो इंशाल्लाह उसमें वो स्पीकर जरूर होंगे
इंशाल्लाह, बिकॉज वो आपको बहुत हेल्प करेगा, बिकॉज बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस जो है ना उनकी रिकग्निशन एंड लॉ के परस्पेक्टिव से भी हैं। तो समवन फ्रॉम लाइक बिलाल अहमद सूफी इज अ गुड रिसोर्स पर्सन in the field of international law. Then आपका जो है UNHCR का कोई representative हो, UNEP का कोई हो जो कि climate refugees के बारे में थोड़ा सा explain करे, तो that would be very interesting. और बहरहाल ये it was an initial task, लेकिन it was very good, wonderfully handled, wonderfully mentored and wonderfully presented. Thank you so much. So good to see you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samrana. It's been an honor to have you, and thank you so much everyone. आप सबने ज्वाइन किया, और इस फेलोशिप को अगर आप लोग नहीं होते तो आप लोग के बगैर ये फेलोशिप भी नहीं हो सकती। इट्स लाइक अ वेरी ऑब्वियस थिंग। सो तब तक के लिए अपना बहुत सारा ख्याल रखें और दुआओं में याद रखें, और क्लाइमेट के ऊपर काम करते रहें। अगर जितना आप लोग कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं ज़रूर कंट्रीब्यूट करें इन द डोमेन ऑफ क्लाइमेट, जिस भी डोमेन में आप करें। इफ यू आर स्टूडेंट ऑफ लॉ, इफ यू आर स्टूडेंट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स और पॉलिटिकल साइंस, नो मैटर विच डिग्री यू आर परसुइंग, काइंडली वर्क ऑन द क्लाइमेट। सो तब तक के लिए अपना बहुत सारा ख्याल रखिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।